February 17, 2003. At first, the police thought it was a malfunction. The alarm system inside the Antwerp Diamond Center, considered the most secure diamond vault on Earth, had gone silent. No sirens, no flashing lights, no broken doors, just absence and absence. In a place like this was impossible. Beneath 6 stories of reinforced concrete lay Vault Room A, protected by more security layers than most military installations. A magnetic lock, a seismic sensor, a Doppler radar, an infrared heat detector, a lock with over 100 million possible combinations, and above all, a simple belief: this place cannot be robbed. That belief died when the vault door opened. Inside, police found 123 safety deposit boxes ripped open like corpses. Diamonds, gold, cash. Jewelry gone. The estimated value, over $100 million, some say closer to $500 million. And there was no sign of forced entry. No fingerprints. No blood. No gunshots. No alarms triggered. Just one small detail. Piece of half-eaten salami sandwich discarded in the vault. To understand how the perfect crime was committed, you must understand the man who designed it. His name was Leonardo Notarbartolo. Italian, soft-spoken, meticulous, a jeweler by trade, a thief by obsession. Notarbartolo didn't believe in luck. He believed in time. For nearly 2 years, he posed as a diamond merchant, renting an office inside the Antwerp Diamond Center itself. He drank coffee with traders. He watched. He memorized routines, blind spots, habits, security guards who yawned at 2:14 a.m., cameras that blinked when switching tapes, cleaning staff who never looked up. Every detail mattered, because this was not a smash and grab. This was surgery. 4 men entered the building. Near midnight, no masks, no weapons, no urgency. They moved like they belonged there, using a homemade device. They neutralized the infrared sensor by spraying hairspray and placing black plastic over the lens. Real technique, real evidence. The magnetic lock, defeated with a simple aluminum plate. The seismic sensor, fooled by a carefully placed piece of foam. Each security measure worth millions was undone with. Items bought at a hardware store, and still no alarms. This wasn't just theft, it was humiliation, because the most terrifying part wasn't what they took. It was what they left behind. For a crime this clean, there should have been no trail, but perfection breeds arrogance, and arrogance always leaves something behind. 3 days after the robbery, a forest ranger outside Antwerp noticed something strange along a quiet roadside. Black garbage bags, torn open by animals, scattered across the damp earth like offerings. Inside them, burned documents, packaging from diamond vault boxes, gloves, food wrappers, and that half-eaten salami sandwich. The police finally had something real. Evidence with weight. Evidence that smelled like meat and failure. The sandwich was tested. DNA recovered. It didn't belong to a security guard. Didn't belong to any employee. It belonged to Leonardo Notarbartolo. The ghost had a name. Notarbartolo was arrested in Italy weeks later. Calm, polite, almost relieved. But when investigators pressed him, he smiled. "I was not alone," he said, "but you will never find the others." And he was right. Interrogation room, the police reconstructed the crime again, and again, and again. Every theory failed. How did they avoid triggering the Doppler radar? Why didn't the heat sensors react to body temperature? How did they open boxes without leaving tool marks? Each answer led to another impossibility, because this wasn't a gang of amateurs. It was a crew known only by nicknames: the Monster, the Lock Specialist, capable of cracking complex vaults by touch, the Genius, electronics expert, rumored to build devices that fooled military sensors, the King of Keys, master of mechanical locks, speedy logistics, timing, disposal. None were ever identified. No fingerprints, no financial trails, no confessions. They vanished like smoke. And then came the nightmare realization: the diamonds were never sold. At least not in any way police could trace. No sudden luxury purchases, no black market floods, no whispers in underground exchanges. It was as if $100 million worth of diamonds had been swallowed by the earth. Police theory: investigators believe the diamonds were cut down, reshaped into smaller stones, and slowly reintroduced into the market over years. Each piece now unrecognizable, a perfect laundering, a crime with no ending. Narrator Notarbartolo was convicted. sentenced to prison, but even behind bars, he never stopped smiling because the truth was simple. He didn't lose, he took the fall. And the diamonds, they're still out there. Maybe in wedding rings, maybe in watches, maybe on someone's hand right now. Cold, beautiful, and stolen. Even the most secure vaults have secrets, and sometimes the secret isn't inside the walls. Investigators returned to the Antwerp Diamond Center months after the heist. Stepping into the silent, sterile corridors, cameras still blinked, security guards still patrolled, but there was a chill they couldn't explain. Inside Vault Room A, the air felt heavier. The metallic scent of diamonds lingered, even though they were gone. And then the detectives noticed something subtle, scratches on the floor. To faint to trigger sensors, a path leading from the vault door to the janitor's closet. It was almost laughable, almost invisible, and yet it told a story no one had imagined. The night of the heist for men as calm as monks moving through the building, carrying tools small enough to hide in a briefcase, no alarms triggered, no panic. But the path they left behind so subtle was a signature. It was not carelessness, it was deliberate. They wanted the world to think this was impossible. They wanted investigators to look at every angle and fail. And they did. Forensic lab, later tiny fibers from gloves, smudges on a door handle, chemical residues, each trace led nowhere, or rather everywhere like smoke in a room. Impossible to capture. Yet one clue remained, a small piece of electronic tape, peeled off and left under a vent. Analysts matched it to a device that could neutralize motion sensors and heat detectors. The implication was horrifying. The heist was planned with military-grade knowledge, yet executed with everyday objects. They could have taken everything in minutes. Instead, they chose precision. Every diamond, every safety deposit box, taken without error, without chaos. And when the police tried to map the heist, trying to reconstruct every step, something impossible appeared. A room inside the vault that didn't exist, not a secret vault, not hidden panels, but a pattern in the placement of boxes. The missing diamonds weren't random. They were arranged to mock the investigators, to leave a message: you will never find us. And the message was not just for police, it was for anyone who ever thought security was absolute. Because in this world, the monsters don't always leave doors open. Sometimes they walk out with your treasures and your mind. By now, the heist wasn't just a crime, it was a message, a warning. Because the more the police investigated, the stranger things became. Interrogation room, Notarbartolo. Leonardo Notarbartolo leaned back in his chair, hands folded, calm, patient. A man who had spent 2 years inside the belly of a diamond empire, mapping it like a predator mapping prey. The others, he said, voice soft, they exist in the corners of your mind. You will never see them, and even if you do, they will vanish. It wasn't arrogance, it was terror, because the police realized something. This wasn't just a heist crew, it was a cult of precision. Each member had a role, a ritual, a psychological profile so precise that their actions were predictable only to each other. Consider the monster, the lock expert. He didn't just open locks. He memorized the patterns of human error, the way a guard hesitated, a security camera paused, even the way a cleaning crew breathed in a hallway. The genius didn't just disable electronics. He predicted their placement, their sensitivity, the molecular signature of their materials, down to the wires and resistors. King of Keys could walk into a room and make every mechanical lock sing under his touch, leaving no trace. And Speedy, he wasn't just a logistician, he was a master of timing. Every step, every pause, every disposal meticulously choreographed. Psychological analysis. The police brought in psychologists, behavioral experts, even criminal profilers. Every report said the same thing: they are not human in conventional terms. They operate in a collective consciousness where failure does not exist. They view the law as a sandbox and security as a game of patience. The horror wasn't just in the crime, it was in the calculated emptiness left behind. Cameras blinking, but nothing to record. Alarms, but nothing to trigger. Money, but no traceable movement. And at the center of it all, a man in prison smiling, taking the fall for ghosts. Some investigators whispered about conspiracy. Perhaps some diamonds were never meant to be sold. Perhaps the crew had clients nobody would dare name. Perhaps the heist was a test of the world's obsession with security. And the most terrifying part, the crew could strike again, anywhere, anytime. because the only thing they feared was being caught emotionally, not physically. They thrived in shadows. They were the kind of criminals whose greatest weapon was to mine theirs and everyone else's. By the time the trial ended, the diamonds were gone, the crew vanished, and the world was left with an uneasy truth. The scariest monsters are not in horror films. They are in boardrooms, in vaults, in offices you trust, and sometimes they smile while you stare, knowing you will never catch them. Years passed, the Antwerp Diamond Center repaired its vaults, security was upgraded. Cameras now scan every corner, guards patrolled every hallway, and yet something remained broken. The heist had left a wound, a mark on the city's heart, a ghost in the concrete. The investigation that never ended despite Notarbartolo's conviction. The other members of the crew vanished. No trace of the monster, the genius, the king of keys, or Speedy. The police never even had a confirmed photograph of them. The diamonds, worth hundreds of millions, disappeared. Rumors surfaced. Some had been recut into smaller stones and sold quietly on the market. Some had been smuggled overseas, possibly embedded in jewelry worn by unsuspecting buyers. Some may never exist again, lost in hidden vaults controlled by a secret network. Nobody knew, and that was the point. The heist wasn't just about stealing diamonds. It was about erasing certainty. It was a lesson whispered to every security company, every bank, every vault designer. No system is perfect. No human error is accidental. And some monsters don't just steal wealth, they steal peace of mind. In criminal circles, the Antwerp Diamond Heist became legend. Books were written, documentaries produced. Journalists like Joshua Davis pieced together fragments of evidence, tracing fingerprints of genius in a maze of impossibility. But even they admitted the truth. Some puzzles are unsolvable. Some treasures are never found. Some stories are horror disguised as crime. And for those who study the crime, the final terror is simple. You can secure your doors. You can install cameras. You can guard your treasures night and day. But the ghosts of the Antwerp heist are still out there, waiting, watching. And maybe one day they'll strike again. The vaults are silent now. The diamonds are gone. And the world is just a little less certain of safety. Because the greatest heist of the century wasn't just theft. It was a lesson in fear.